Good afternoon, everyone. I am Arunava, and my subject is quite a vast subject today. That, from my experience, what I have seen on the field, what it really means for an organization to become AI and data enabled, and product and people. So let me give a bit of context, because whatever I'll be talking to you about is what I have seen on the market. So part of it is a theoretical, most of it is practical. And so what we do, a bit of it first. So I am the CTO for Digitate. Digitate is an organization that makes product for cognitive automation side of it. There is some credential in the market, and Ignio is our flagship product. Now, what Ignio does, it brings in machine learning, into operations, business operations, and try to give value in a very short period of time. And we have started selling this product around 4 years back, and before that, for 4 years, we made it. And last 4 years, we have seen certain trends in the market. I'll talk about that mainly. Now, from my role perspective, being a CTO, I need to do certain things. I talk to the analysts, so that give me a trend view. I get into customer premises, talk to them pre-sales and post-sales. And also, I help my product team to develop new products, correct? So combining all these, I get to be a part of, in this whole cycle of AI machine learning in operations, in the trends, the incubation, the success, joys, and most importantly, failure. So whatever I'll be talking about today is from my experience and probably very obvious. But sometimes stating obvious is very important, like telling your loved ones again and again that I love you. It helps, correct? Now, without further ado, so what we are seeing in the market, and what I'm talking about is mainly on the operation side of any business, that how people are changing. And as I told that we are seeing it for last 4 years. And when we started with the journey, we saw certain trends, how people reacted to what we are going to talk. Now what I'm seeing there's a significant difference. And the organizations are changing very frequently. So there are 4 facets in any organization, correct, or at a company. So there is an operating model. So operating models, what we are seeing again and again, that from a process control, it is being very much data-driven. So data is the core of any machine learning, which is core of AI, correct? A machine understands only data. Second is the organizational intelligence. It is based on tacit knowledge, used to be. It is very much intuition-centric. Tom knows how it works, correct? But it is changing very frequently. To give an example, in IT operations, when there are bad jobs running, if it fails, people say that, some person will know that it again failed tomorrow because it happens like that. So this intuition-centric, tacit knowledge-centric things are changing frequently. People are getting more and more data, and it is coming out to be as evidence-based. It's a very significant shift that we are seeing in organization, and it's very important because if this culture change doesn't happen, then the technology cannot come in. Because, see, the cycle of technology and the culture change are interdependent. A technology comes in, people see it is possible, so the culture changes. And when the culture changes, the technology evolves again, correct? There is a business case for the technology to grow. The third thing is very important, this third and fourth I'll be talking a bit more in detail. So the nature of work is changing very frequently and very fast for people. So from manual work, I will not say automated, but it is becoming augmented. People are being more and more comfortable to take help from machine to do two types of tasks. One is that what is very simple manual, which a machine can do very easily, a simple automation. Another thing is the data churning and the analytics side of it, where you have to look at a lot of data and take a decision. A human can do it, but it takes time. So in these 2 areas, which are 2 different spectrums, a very simple task and a very complex task, machines are helping people, and people are probably filling in the gap and being man in the middle. And the fourth, which is a bit of ethics issue probably when we talk about AI, ML/robots, is the roles and culture inside the organization. And I have seen it firsthand, how people used to react 4 years back and now. From activity-based, it is becoming outcome-based. It's not really how many hours or what exact activities you are going to do, but exactly what you are delivering at the end of the day. This mind shift is very important because at the end of the day, if it is outcome-oriented, then people will be more open to take help from a machine, use machine learning, artificial intelligence, because otherwise, there is a conflict of interest. So these are the 4 things we are saying. I will be talking about 2 specific things because these are the 2 things which we have seen very up close and personal, that what it really means. Okay. So the first is the manual to augmented. So manual is obviously doing any work manually, completely by hand. And then it went to assisted, a small pieces of task a machine will be doing. Suppose you click on a button, it goes and does something. Slowly it is changing. The RPA came into picture, robotic process automation, which supports a series of tasks, but which doesn't change very frequently. We saw this wave around 4 or 5 years back, started with the BPO industry and getting into other business processes. And where we are now and where the product that we manufacture and market is into that category, that it's adaptive. It perform intelligent context-aware automation, orchestration. What I mean by that, I'll be touching about the product also a bit. I'll try to explain. So this thing is happening and happening very, very fast. The second part is on the apprehension side, that when this technology comes in, what is changing in people's role? People have a typical tendency say that, okay, if any automation comes in, whether my job will go away. That's a big fear, and that is the biggest roadblock probably, the culture change. Now, like any other automation throughout the history, it is repeating here, correct? What we are seeing, that in initial days, when through machine learning, artificial intelligence, through automation, etc., some roles are going away. So if anyone is conversant with IT operations, they will know there are concepts of L1, L2, L3 engineers. L1 does the catch and dispatch, L2 does the first level of analysis, L3 does the very finer analysis. What we are seeing, this L1 and L2, which is a very repetitive task, is actually going away. And slowly, slowly, L3 are the only thing which are remaining. Tower architects, it's very standard that there are very specific SMEs in a specific technology. He will do only that technology. Used to call it technology tower SMEs. That is slowly becoming, very blurred. What's happening is that initially the traditional roles are coming down, but once this void is created, new roles are coming in. We are seeing the new roles: chief data officer, chief automation architect, full stack engineers. See, all these things are possible because there is a need for the data, there is a need for automation, it is being accepted by people, and there are enablers in the market to support that. So for example, full stack engineer, what it really means, a person who used to look only after operating system now is looking after database also. It is possible because there is a machine, someone who does the first level of analysis, give more information, then the people apply this intelligence to go and get this work done. So it is actually becoming more and more reality today. Okay, now here is where the experience or what I have seen in the market comes in, and I will be talking about it in a bit. Now see, from artificial intelligence perspective, though we tell AI and ML in the same breath, they are very different things, correct? AI is a combination of 50, 60, 70 technologies. It's not a technology in itself. You combine multiple technologies and try to mimic intelligence. Now, though it sounds like science fiction, but if you take out the components, you will feel that it is already in our lives very much, correct? What are the components? Virtual assistants, chatbots, drones, intelligent automation, self-driving cars. These are the things we are seeing around, correct? So if you combine any multiple of these technologies, it eventually becomes AI. Some of the things are yet to come. Artificial general intelligence probably 15 to 20 years away from us, where it can mimic empathy, common sense, etc. But we are some miles away from that. Now, what we are seeing that when we went to put a technology, in a marketplace and in a client place 4 years back, so it's very new to them. Nice. And any new technology, if someone has to put his neck on to do a project with $500,000, then obviously there are many apprehensions that comes in. What we saw that worked is a very solid business case. Upfront, if we can build a business case, in our area it will be 3 areas specifically: agility, efficiency, and resilience. Basically, solving things faster, doing it at lower cost, etc. Whenever we could build a business case and give it to our customers, which they could take to their boss and ask for $500,000, it actually sailed through. Wherever we could not do it, it took us ages, to get in. So building a business case for any new technology, in this case AI, is of paramount importance. That is what we have learned. Probably we have learned in a very hard way. Second thing is time to value. See, any new technology, people are very reluctant to spend too much time to see the value. It is probably okay for scientists, for students, for product companies. But for business operations, if they don't see a value within 2 to 3 quarters, it is very much possible that it is going to die a very slow and painful death in project. So we have learned a very hard way that if we can show some value within first 6 months' time, and people start getting confidence inside that product or the service, then it is much easier to go ahead. People will come and talk more and more about this. Give you an example. There's a very large postal company in Nordics. So the first product we put in was for IT operations. So when they saw that the IT operations actually works and giving them value, now they are telling that for their business operations, which is sorting center, whether we can increase the efficiency in their sorting center, which is not really the product capability, but it can extend. So the confidence in the product and the technology itself, when they saw the first value and time to very fast, they came to us and said that whether you can do more with us. Third is transformation ownership. See, we have around 115 customers, global customers, quite large. I will say 70% of the places, it worked well, and probably 30% it did not work well. Actually, it did not work at all. So why is the case? It's the same product, why it is not working? So then we realized that for any new technology, any new product which is not out of the mill and not essential, if there is no stewardship from the top, very top, it is impossible to go ahead. If the CEO or the CEO of the company doesn't have a transformation ownership and shows that, it is very easy, the whole things to fizzle out and die a very natural death. Now, if we build these 3 things together, business case, fast time to value, and transformation ownership, we have seen it works very well. Where we have seen the roadblocks are, and it is, some analysts also talk about the same thing. The fundamental problem is lack of data, the correctness of data and the scatteredness of data. With chief data officer coming into place, probably this will be solved, because at the end of the day, at the heart of artificial intelligence is a machine. A machine only understands data and needs to get data to do anything at all. So if the data is not available, it's impossible to do anything at all. So lack of data in analyst surveys also, it comes out as a top, that lack of data is actually hurting it a bit, the adoption a bit. In recent years, what we have seen, that the security is becoming of paramount importance. Whenever a machine is trying to think on your behalf and going to do something, it's a problem. And specifically with the way the world is getting divided, security, at least for the last 1 year, the scrutiny is that we have felt in front of our customers that what this product does, what is the security measures, etc., has been of paramount importance. So it is very important for anyone who is trying to put a product in AI/ML area. I think that question will come to them also. It is nothing different, correct? It is trying to do something which is not man supervised. So people would like to be sure about that, about security. Cultural change and apprehensions. See, let me give you an example. See, as I told you, it's a time scale, correct? 4 years is a long time. Around 4 years back, we went to a very large bank in UK. And when we talked about the product, we said it can self-heal systems. The moment the word self-heal came in, there was so much fear in the room, and people said, we just don't like it. 3 years down the line, last year, the product has been sold and the product has been deployed there. So the point is that from 2015, between 2018, the thought of machines doing something, thinking on your behalf and taking action on your behalf is actually becoming commonplace slowly and slowly, and it is going to improve more. To give you an example, if you say a very leading analyst survey, in 2018, only 4% of CIOs had any AI-enabled project in their goals coming ahead. This year, I saw some other analyst report that if you take the top 10 searches, all three types of searches, new searches, emerging searches, and top searches, everywhere AI ML is the prominent occupier of one of the places. So things are changing very fast, and between 2018 and 19, this has been a significant difference. Now comes the last part, which is trust. That whether you trust a machine, whether you trust the intelligence of a machine. So what we have seen, see, the one problem with AI machines are that it really doesn't tell you, it's very black box, correct? Why a cat is a cat, why it is telling this is a cat. What we have tried to do is that whatever the product does, we try to give reason, we try to give the log, and we try to give the evidence that what we are trying to say so. When we are doing that, the people's trust inside this whole AI, ML, automation, intelligent automation actually goes up, and people are more okay to use it. So that is the thing that I am seeing in the market. So though my subject was, it is product and people, that how organization changes, but actually it is much more than product and people. It is product, people, technology, and services. All these four components play very heavily when an organization really want to become data-driven and AI-driven. Now, having said that, let me share some experience with you, with our products. So the product we sell and make, it's called Ignio. So it works on cognitive automation and application operations, batch operations, and ERP operations, and we are getting into some business cases also, correct? And it works on three fundamental principles, that it is recognition intelligence, that how things are connected with each other, contextual construct of an application or a data center or a SAP system or a batch operations. Because if you don't know how things are connected with each other, it is impossible to take in your operations or any activity. Second is on the top of that, we put reasoning intelligence, basically how systems behave at a specific point of time, normal behavior analysis, understanding through machine learning. And depending on the situations happening around you, you decide that what has to be done. So basically reasoning capability. And the third is, there is a problem in the market today that generally the reasoning and recognition is done by one product, and it decides that what has to be done. And then the actual work is done by some other product. So in Ignio, what we have tried to do is we have also given the operative intelligence to Ignio. So for example, if it needs and figures out that a database is a problem, for example, through the recognition and reasoning, it has the capability to go and fix that database also and make it up. So that is in a nutshell, that what the product is all about. Now, see, whatever I talked about, what I am seeing as a behavior, as a trend in the market. Now, what are the people seeing as value in bringing AI ML? And whatever I am talking about is in the context of the product that we have deployed at different places. So, and how they have become data-driven. So I'll take an example of a very large building society in UK. So what we have done there is Ignio for batch operations or batch analytics is there. So previously, one example I took, correct? If there is a problem in batch operations, on a Monday typically, someone knows, Tom knows that it happens on Monday. But now what I have done, all their 56,000 batch jobs, they have taken into Ignio, and it churns the past performance and tells for the next day that what is the expected problem in the next day. So this is a very practical example of how this organization is actually becoming data-driven, correct? It is taking data of the batch job, it's a very small example, and based on that, a machine is telling in a much more sophisticated way that tomorrow what is the possibility of things happening, and that is how they become data-driven. And the benefits that we are seeing are in different areas. For a very large energy major, through automation, and machine learning, what happened that their end user customer satisfaction has first time gone beyond 90% because things get done much faster. I talked about efficiency, correct? Business case. In one of the media organization, we saw that there are 25,000 hours of effort was being automated by machine, and because of that severe crunch in bandwidth of their good engineers, correct? They could do something else much better, which is fit to their intelligence. So there are numerous examples. What we are seeing that these organizations, when there is transformation ownership, there is a business case, we are seeing real value. And when in the marketplace people say that what AI is going to do last 4 years, we have seen the value, on ground, and it is actually giving us good results and giving our customers good results. So with that, I have only one more slide to cover. This. Now, the industry in data has become so powerful because the industries are changing in themselves, correct? So for example, I heard about Boeing. Boeing is also starting an analytics service. It's a flight manufacturer, correct? But it's doing analytics. Many of the organizations have a lot of data. So it's a very specific, very large postal company, postal delivery company. So they are thinking in the line that, see, we have a very huge amount of data. If I can analyze that properly, I have a very specific business case, business model. So for example, if someone puts a parcel in the parcel counter, it takes 2 days to reach. Within these 2 days, no one can actually change it very easily. It's very difficult to change the destination or time of delivery. That happens because so far, the analytics that is happening is generally data is stale and coarse. So in this range, the gray box is what people do in analytics, and optimize. But think about it. If you can get data which is very live and very fine-grained, the specific example I took about, if they can get the location of the truck and the parcel at real time, and they can analyze it properly, they can actually tell their customers now, anywhere before 2:30 p.m. on the day of delivery, you can change your delivery instructions, and for every delivery instructions, there is a €2 charge. It's a completely new business model altogether. So the amount of data that people are having, it's a wealth, and people are realizing that, and this journey has already started, and the distinctions between different industry segments are, started becoming blurred. One example is the postal company. They are getting into a new business model altogether with the data they have. So this is what I had to cover. Okay, so how am I doing on time?
You have it time.
I think it's exactly on time.
You're
Fine.
good.
Okay, thank you. So any specific questions, etc.?